Hi there, I'm Sarah MacDonald from Balance Yoga. I'm here today with Sophie and we are going to go through and show you a restorative yoga routine that focuses on opening up the front of the body. So this routine would be ideal to do at the end of the day, particularly if you're feeling a bit tired and don't want to do anything strenuous. This is going to be really low key. If you've been doing any type of training when you're in a sitting position or just even sitting in a car or at a desk, this is going to be really nice. So I'm going to get Sophie first of all to sit down on the mat, and today we're using a bolster. Our first pose will be supported fish pose. A bolster is a really firm kind of cushion. If you don't have a bolster available, you can improvise by using a few other things. Perhaps a rolled up yoga mat with a blanket over it, or a foam roller that's nicely padded out. You want a mix of firm and supportive, but not too hard. So Sophie's going to sit, we're going to put about a fist between Sophie's hips and the bolster, and then you get just to lie back over here. So we want to lie back nice and centrally over the bolster, feeling the spine nicely supported. Now if there's any discomfort or compression through the lower back, you can keep the knees bent up, that's going to help to start with, and feel that you're moving the tailbone away from the bolster, lengthening out through the lower back. So this is how you set up to start with. Depending on how you're feeling, you may like to keep the legs up, or you can stretch them out here on the floor. Then the hands can be in any position that feels nice for you. If they're down beside the body, I'd suggest turning the palms up, and this is going to help open through the front of the shoulders a little more. And the more feeling that you want to get that you're opening through the chest, then the further you can take the hands out from the body. So if they come all the way out to shoulder height, that's going to be opening a lot more through the chest. So just find somewhere, anywhere through the spectrum that feels nice for you. So Sophie's going to be in this pose, or you can hold this pose for a few minutes. You can hold it for as long as you like really, but I'd suggest 3 minutes to start with anyway. Once you're here, you want to take your attention to your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just start to feel that you can fill the chest up, taking long deep breaths, nice and long and slow, and then letting the breath out through the nose. In restorative yoga poses, you really want to take your time to allow the body to settle in to the position that you're in. When you first get into this position, you may feel various sensations through the spine. And as the body softens in and releases into the pose, keep your awareness on the changes of sensation that you have. You'll gradually feel the body sinking in, lengthening out. And just be here, again, focusing on the breath, focusing on what you're feeling through the body. So this supported fish pose is a supported gentle back bend, opening of course through more across the front, the top of the chest and body, rather than the lower spine. It's got a nice gentle curve going all the way through. Now Sophie's a rower, so after training for rowing, this is a really great counter pose to do. Whether you're rowing, any position where you've got the front of the body closed up, on a bike, swimming, or sitting at your desk, lovely to do. And just be here and breathe. The trick often is in restorative poses to also get the mind under control. So it's very easy for some people to let the mind drift off, all sorts of different thoughts come in. If that's happening for you, just keep bringing your attention back to the breath. And if that's still challenging, actually say to yourself in your mind, breathing in, breathing out. Giving the mind something to focus on other than the busy thoughts that can start going around. So we'll keep Sophie here and yourself for another 4 or 5 breaths. When you're ready to come out of the pose, always do so slowly. So you might want to bend the knees in and then use the arms to slowly sit yourself up, rolling yourself up off the bolster and coming back up to sitting. Nice. So we're going to put the bolster aside now. And so if you could come onto your hands and knees, we'll put your head down this end here. What we're going to do now is just take the spine through a range of motions to work it out, ease it out after whatever you've been doing for the day. So when you're setting yourself up in hands and knees, we've got this lovely position here where the hands are directly under the shoulders and the knees are right under the hips. Keeping your nice long soft breath going, we're going to start to do some cat-cow breathing. So this means on the inhalation we extend the spine. This is exhaling, rounding the back. So we do this first, and then as you inhale, we're extending the spine up, bringing the chest forward, opening across the front of the shoulders, and drawing breath in. As you exhale, the movement of the spine goes the opposite way, rounding the back up. And then slowly moving again through into the inhale position. So we call this cat position, like angry cat back, squeezing the air out, and inhale into a cow position. So just use a nice long even breath and get that flow of movement of breath going. Try not to have any sudden jerking of movement from one way to the next. Try and make it nice and fluid. And we're thinking about maximum movement along the spine. So we're going to get space between the vertebrae here. When you inhale, try and keep it even. If you've got a soft back, see if you can avoid dumping too much into the lower back. Try to get nice even movement. A couple more rounds. Just getting some length through the whole spine. Okay, after several rounds of breath, coming back into neutral. Now take your hips back onto your heels and stretching your hands out long in front of you. We're going to walk to each side with the hands. So start by moving over to your left, walking the hands over. The forehead stays down towards the floor, and we're wanting to visualize a nice even curve down through the spine. Breathing nice and long, feel the stretch go right through the right hand side of the body here. So we're extending between the ribs on the right side. So stay here for 5 breaths. So we'll have one more breath here, and then slowly walk your hands back into the center of your mat and just stay here for a breath or two. And notice the sensations that you've got from going to that one side. Probably feel quite lopsided. And then slowly taking the hands over to the other side now. Once again, trying to visualize a nice even curve through the whole spine. Forehead stays onto the floor so the back of the neck's relaxed. And breathing into the whole chest. Expanding through the left side of the ribcage this time. So you feel you're breathing more into your left lung. Again, about 5 breaths on each side. And when you're done, coming back into the center and bringing yourself back up onto hands and knees. The last movement we're going to do with the spine is a gentle twist through, rotation. So if you start by stepping your left hand forward, about 1 hand space, just right in front of you here. On an inhalation, we're going to circle with the right hand and open the chest to the side, looking up at the fingers, getting some twisting through the spine. As you exhale, bending your grounded elbow and swinging the arm through nice and long. Inhale, bringing yourself back up once again, looking up to the fingers. Exhale, taking the hand through. And one more time, nice, long, slow movement. Extending up and through, and then coming down. This time, allow yourself to come all the way down so the shoulder comes either onto the floor or close to it. You want to make sure your weight's going mostly through your shoulder and not through the head and stressing the neck. Having this elbow bend as much as you need to come down. Just be here and breathe for about 5 breaths. Feeling the broadness across the shoulder blades at the back and that squeeze through the belly. As you inhale, slowly come up from here. And swap the hands around. So the left hand's going to come back under the shoulder, making the right hand step forward, one hand space so you've got some room to swing through. Nice long inhalation, nice big circle with the arm coming up, opening the chest to the side as you exhale, coming through and down. Again, linking the movement in with your breath. Just starting to warm up the spine, introduce some twist. Second time through, and then opening, twisting up, coming down to rest on the floor. And holding here. When you come down into this twist, just check that the hips on the side that you're swinging through to don't swing way up to the side. Try and keep your hips back in their neutral position. Feel that expansion across the back of the shoulder blades and breathe here. So we're taking the spine through all its main movements just to ease it out at the end of the day. And then coming back up onto all fours. Give yourself a little roll around, whatever feels good. And then lie down onto your back now. We're going back to the back bending. So what we're going to do here is a supported bridge pose. Another pose that's nice and restorative, supportive, that you can hang out in for a few minutes. So hopefully you've got a yoga block that you can use for this. If you don't have a yoga block, you can find something like a good solid book, or something else that's sort of a block shape. Get creative, find a good container or something in the kitchen. A yoga block can be used on different levels, so you might want to start low, tilt it up onto the side or onto the end. What you're going to do with this block is lift up your hips and place one edge of the block under your sacrum. So this is the flat, solid part just under your lower back. So you place this down nice and evenly so the long side is going across the sacrum, and settle the hips down onto here. Now depending on how bendy your back feels, you can take this block higher or lower. If you're in this pose for a few minutes and you decide you want a bit of a change, then just go ahead and change as suits. You're going to start with your knees bent into this position and just allow yourself to get into this supported back bend for a few breaths. And then, as you feel more comfortable here, you can gradually walk the feet out. You can lengthen them as far as you like, so you can keep them bent in, or taking them out, coming to rest onto the heels. And with the top of the body, the more you roll up onto the shoulders, onto the side of the top of the arms, then the more opening you can get through the chest. Again, find a place that feels nice and comfortable for you, where you can hang out for a few minutes. It doesn't feel too strained. So we started off with the bolster, opening up through the chest a little more with the hips on the floor. This is the other way around for a back bend, lifting the hips up while the shoulders are down. How this pose works is to open through the hip flexors a little more, open out the front of the hips. So it's working well for you if you've been in any seated position through the day. And again, you can hold this for a few minutes. We'll go for about 3 minutes or so, but however long feels nice for you. The block underneath your sacrum should feel nice and supported. Just make sure, if it's not feeling quite right for you, that you haven't got it up too much under the soft part of the back. Get it onto that nice solid foundation here so you can really sink down into it. So you've got a couple of options now that you're here in your supported bridge. If you want to just remain in this position, just remain in this position. One other thing you can do is do alternate knee hugs. So if you bring your right knee in towards your chest, give it a bit of a hug around. And this is going to put even more opening through the front hip flexor on the left side, and a bit of stretch through the back of the right leg as well. So if you're doing this, hold each side in for about 5 breaths. And then slowly let that leg out. Just hold it down here, equal with the other side, and then bring the other one in. Always remaining focused on the breath. So the breath's long and gentle and slow. paying attention to the sensations you feel as you stretch through different ways. Give yourself one more breath here, and then you can lengthen that leg out to meet the other one. Really good counter pose for anything in a sitting or forward position. And a gentle way to work out your hip flexors. So restorative pose is really good if you're feeling low on energy. And when you're ready to come out, you're just going to bend your knees in a little bit, lift your hips up, remove the block from underneath, and then slowly take your back down onto the floor. I feel the floor is in a little unusual position after that bend. So settle back down, do anything that feels right for you. So you can extend your legs out, give yourself a little hug in with the knees, whatever feels nice, just let yourself settle back down into neutral. We're going to finish off this restorative sequence by doing something that's really nice and restful for the legs. It's taking the legs up the wall. So Sophie, if you'd like to get up, we're going to take your mat over to a wall. So we'll shift it over to here, put it in here, and we're going to sit down. Now, there's a bit of a trick to getting up the wall. If you know you've got really tight hamstrings and you're a bit stiff through the hips, then take yourself away from the wall a few inches so you're not going to overstretch the legs as you come up the wall. So the best idea is to sit down into the wall, get in nice and close, bend the knees, and then swivel yourself around, and you can scooch in or out a little bit as you like, and taking yourself to lying down. Now just when you sit up here, just check that your hips are actually on your mat. So if you're tighter through the back of the legs and need to come out a little bit, come out from the wall, just making sure that the hips are in good contact with the mat. And it's as simple as that, legs up the wall. You've always got some options though. So with your arms, you could rest your hands in on your belly if you like, or have them down next to the hips. But as Sophie's doing, the further you take them up into a T or goalpost position, the more you can feel some opening through the chest and shoulders if you're also looking for that. And you just be here and breathe. And the legs, especially if they have been doing anything like running, can just drain everything out, freshen up. And it's a very mild inversion of the legs up the wall. It's a nice way to finish. Now, an added addition, what you can do is if you want to feel some connection of the thigh bones really settling down into the hip sockets, is get a little bit of extra weight. So if you have something like a sandbag or maybe a wet bag at home, anything along those lines, it's a really nice thing to do is to place them over your feet or have someone do that for you. If you're doing this yourself, a good way to do it is to bend your knees down so you can reach your feet, pop the weight on your feet, and then extend the legs back up the wall. But that's a nice way to just settle that extra little bit of pressure, taking the thigh bones into the hips. And you can stay here for pretty much as long as you like. So at least a couple of minutes, 3 minutes or so. Breathing nice and softly. Giving your legs some nice rest. So Sophie's going to stay here for a little bit now, but when you are ready to come down, if you've got a weight here, first of all slide your feet down, take the weight off, scoot yourself out from the wall a little bit, and then slowly come back up to sitting. And you're about done. But for now, we're going to leave you here, enjoying your legs up the wall. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you'd like some more yoga for athletes and restorative poses, check out my website, balanceyoga.co.nz, or try and find Sarah MacDonald on YouTube. Thanks for watching.